Lorum Elmer Jackson was born in 1897 in Fredonia, Arizona to Robert and Estella Jackson. He was one of 9 children. He grew up in Fredonia, and at a young age and throughout his teenage years, he worked for his father and others, including the Bar Z Cattle Company. As a teenager, he bought and took cattle for pay. In those days, the cattle ranged from the Kanab mountain in the summer to the open ranges of the Arizona Strip in the winter. Elmer, as he went by, spent much of his time in these 2 areas. He had many experiences while riding the range, including being cornered by cougars, a standoff with a hunting party of Native Americans, as well as being friends with the well-known Uncle Jim Owens of Grand Canyon fame. The colorful land was a place of colorful stories and memories. Elmer graduated from high school in 1920. He would continue to work, but would soon meet the love of his life, Leah Meeks. She was only 16 and he was 20. She was also a very devout member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Elmer was also a member but grew up not being particularly active in his faith. Elmer continued to work, but his interest in Leah grew and his interest in living the church lifestyle gained steam because of Leah. Even though he wasn't too sure about the church, he decided to serve a mission and was called to the Northwest States and Canada Mission, based in Portland, Oregon. Elmer and his friend made an agreement that if they worked hard and followed the rules for 6 months and studied the Book of Mormon, they'd find out if the church was true. If after 6 months they did not find out it was true, they would go to South America and start a ranch together. Needless to say, he served faithfully and grew a testimony of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Upon returning home, he attended Henniger Business College in Salt Lake City, Utah for a bit, and then decided to return to Kanab and Fredonia to help run his father's ranching business and also to reunite with his love, Leah Meeks. Elmer and Leah were married June 30th of 1926, 8 years after they had met. She was 24 and Elmer was almost 29. They spent their early years on the Kanab mountain, but soon had enough money to build a house in Kanab, which became their long-term home where they raised 4 children, Valton, Robert, Norman, and Joyce. As Elmer raised his family, he continued ranching on the Strip and Kanab. He acquired other property on the Arizona Strip, Burnt Canyon Ranch, and the Pereira Ranch. Elmer took over the full ranching operations and changed his permanent cattle brand to the capital E on its back, with the middle leg of the E extending down into a J shape. He continued to grow the ranching business and bought land south of Kanab as the main area of operations for the ranch. That land today is where the Jackson Flats Reservoir is now located. Elmer loved Kanab and he felt he could use his talents and abilities to benefit the town and its people. He served as mayor for 12 years and also as a councilman for 8. Elmer built the first theater in Kanab, made improvements such as curb and gutter, oiled streets from curb to curb, started the Kanab Public Library, built the Kanab racetrack and rodeo grounds, and established the Kanab Municipal Airport, among many other things. He also served in local civic groups and clubs as well as the local Republican Party. In the LDS Church, he served as a member of the Kanab State High Council from 1931 to 1951. Elmer, while working on the Arizona Strip one morning in March of 1953, got caught up in a radioactive cloud from one of the nuclear bombs being tested in the southern Nevada desert. Many people, including Elmer, got cancer because of the radioactive fallout, and these people became known as downwinders. Elmer fought off the cancer with radiation treatments and continued to live his life working and raising his family. With his kids grown and now having families of their own, Elmer became known as Grandpa. The grandkids all loved to be with Grandpa, and he put them to work on the cattle company. Many great stories of Grandpa and the grandchildren have been passed down and will continue to be passed on. On June 27, 1972, Elmer passed from this life at the age of 74 after a series of heart attacks, partly because of the hardening of the arteries during his radiation treatments when he was dealing with cancer 19 years previous. Elmer Jackson's legacy was hard work. He didn't believe in taking money or help when he could do it himself. He believed the best heritage he could leave his children and grandchildren was a good education and a love of their neighbors. He was a fine host, making everyone welcome, whether at his home or at the ranch. He had the gift of storytelling, and the stories of the early range with his dry humor and excitement left any listener enthralled. He was a man who loved his family, his God, and his nation, and all who knew him gained much from his life. He was a true Renaissance cowboy.